Welcome back to the channel. It's been a few weeks since I put a video out. I've been tied up with some other priorities, but today I did want to put a video out of my 5 top Loosies in my personal collection. Now, a while back I started to downsize a bunch of my stuff, and during that process I did lose a lot of cool RLCs, 05 blacked out chases, and super treasure hunts. But because I'm refocusing the aim of my collection to carded cars, I wanted to give somebody else the opportunity who enjoys loose cars more than I do to have those instead of me. So, before anything else, let's jump into my 5 top Loosies. Number 5 in my collection is actually a custom that I did of the Volkswagen CER from the 2024 Ultra Hots. And this was actually number 8 of 8 in the Mix 1 series. And I've always been a sucker for the Spectra Flame yellow paint, which ultimately looks like the gold paint in my eyes. So to start with, the car originally came with detailed headlights, tail lights, afterburner flame tampos, along with the Volkswagen logo on the side of the vehicle. I went ahead and removed the flame tampos, but kept the Volkswagen on the doors just because I felt like it went well with the car. On this particular model car and this particular Loosie, I used an acrylic black paint to cover the base of the car along with the interior of the car, because I believe the interior came with a gray color. Additionally, I painted the exhaust pipes with an acrylic silver along with the headlights and the tail lights. Lastly, I wheel swapped it with staggered set of chrome wheels, and this is definitely one of my top 5 Loosies, and I don't see myself ever getting rid of this car. It just really stands out and it looks like perfect with the wheel combination along with the paint. So yeah, this is number 5 on my top 5 Loosies. Number 4 in my collection is another custom that I did of the 67 Shelby GT500 from the 2023 Ultra Hots. This was 3 of 8 in the Mix 1 series, and just like the CER, this car also is painted with the Spectra Flame yellow. Like I mentioned before, this is one of my favorite colors from Hot Wheels. This particular model already came with the detailed headlights, tail lights, and afterburner flame tampos, and a 68 tampo on the doors. Now, unlike the CER, I left the headlights and tail lights because they did such a good job with them. On the CER, the headlight tampos were smudged and the car actually didn't even come with any tail light tampos. But let's get back to this Shelby. So I left the interior alone because the black interior is ultimately the best in my opinion. There are a few exceptions that I enjoy seeing the red interior, but in my opinion, this black and gold combination is just perfect, so I left it the way it is. Obviously, you know, we had to wheel swap this car, so again, I used the same exact wheel combination that I did with the CER. You just can't go wrong with that, and I have no complaints. I will admit that I should have colored in the fog lamps up front and the grille like I did with the other custom Shelby that I have. This is probably one of my favorite castings aside from the Fox body, since it reminds me so much of Eleanor from the movie Gone in 60 Seconds. So as you can see with the other custom Shelby that I did, you can tell that I painted in the headlamps, the grille, and the fog lights. They're actually colored in with the same acrylic silver paint that I used on the CER's exhaust. And later on in the future, I might replicate this front end with the black wheels to look exactly like the front end of the Shelby with the chrome wheels. Let me know in the comments down below which one you like better, the way the gold looks with the black wheels or the gold looks with the chrome wheels. Personally, I'm a sucker for chrome, so I'm gonna stick with the chrome. Alright, so this makes our way to number 3 in my collection, which is the RLC 70s Dodge Tradesman van. Now, unlike the others that I went over, this is not a custom, but it's all original from Mattel. The only thing I did was remove it from its packaging and place it in a display case that I have. So, the reason why this is number 3 in my collection is primarily due to the paint. The Spectra Flame dark purple, in my opinion, is a loud color, and I'm not really much of a loud person, but every once in a while you run across a casting that you feel like is just made for a certain paint color or paint scheme, and this Dodge Tradesman van is the van for this paint. So the release date for this van was on 1/24/23. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get it because of my own fault. I think I slept in or I forgot. Anyhow, I was able to acquire it later on down the road, a year later I think, for a fairly decent price. So if you wanted to snag one up, I believe these comps on eBay are showing like $60-ish to $70-ish. So that's like the going rate for them right now in 2024. In addition to the paint, I really enjoy that some of the doors open up. Actually, most of the doors open up, with the exception of the front passenger and driver door. The sunroof is already popped up, and they did a good job with the rear bumper, front bumper, and side exhaust pipes, as they're painted with a nice silver color. And the tampos also look great on everything on the vehicle. The tail lights, the license plate, the front lights, everything. They just did a really good job with all the details for that, with all the features, the paint, and the wheels. So overall, in my opinion, this is number 3 of my favorite Loosies in my collection. And yeah, that's the Tradesman van. Let me know what you think about it. Alright, moving down the line to the number 2 spot is the 1985 IROC Z from the 23rd National Hot Wheels Convention, which was held in Columbus, Ohio on 4/5/23 to 4/9/23. This car is also in its original form. I did not modify this car at all. Outside of it being an aesthetically great looking car and one of the iconic vehicles in the 80s, which rivaled the Ford Mustang, this car holds a bit of a sentimental value, as this was one of my father's first cars with the same paint color when I was just a toddler. It is almost identical, so that is why it's in my number 2 spot of Loosies. Hot Wheels did such a good job with the car. My only complaint are the tampos on the hatch, stating the 23rd Collection Nationals with the location and date. I think, in my opinion, they're completely unnecessary, and I would have just liked to have seen the car without that. Aside from that, they included 2 black pinstripes on the hood where it curves near the vents. I also would have liked to see the car without those pinstripes. Other than that, it's a great looking car, and it was such a competitor for the Mustang Fox body. They did make this IROC from 1981 to 1993, and the Fox body Mustang was also from 1979 to 1993, so a lot of those years overlap with each other. So that's how they were really big rivalry cars during that era. During my time growing up, I would always see a lot of these 2 cars in the racing scene, which leads us to our number 1 spot, which is the 1993 Mustang SVT Cobra. So the 1993 SVT Cobra was released in a couple of colorways from RLC and the conventions, but this particular loose car I have is in Spectre Flame Red. The hood of the car opens up so you can see the engine with the strut brace, which also is painted red. Under the hood, you're able to see the upper intake painted silver, but what I thought was odd is that the distributor cover is painted silver when that's not even a metal piece. The distributor cover was originally black plastic color, but I guess Mattel can't get everything right. But for the most part, they got the obvious things correct, such as the plaque, which is the iconic 5.0 liter Cobra with the snake on the side plaque that they have on the upper intake of those cars, which was pretty distinguishable, and that goes in the middle of the upper intake. It also looks like they painted some of the pulleys silver, so that's mainly what stands out in the engine compartment. Initially, when I looked inside the interior, I thought that they forgot to put the rear seats, but then I remembered this is the Cobra R version, which is more track oriented, and they did not come with rear seats, so that's another detail to pay attention to. Overall, they did an amazing job with this car. My only complaint are that the wheels don't match. I think they could have chosen a better wheel for this car, but I see why they chose this wheel. The original 1993 Cobra R wheels were black with the center cap being chrome and the lip was etched. So I can kind of see the mindset of Mattel, so without having to create a whole new wheel style, they probably just decided to use one that was most similar and recreate the paint scheme, which was going to be more noticeable to the naked eye. Last thing I would like to say about this car is that it is one of the most iconic during this era of Ford versus Chevy. A 1993 Cobra in today's world would be the equivalent to a 2020 plus GT500. That was pretty much the top dog for the Mustang back then, and in my opinion is one of the best looking body styles for the Fox body. Those cars in really good condition today are like selling for around $60,000, up to even more, depending on the condition. Like if they're in immaculate condition, low miles, untouched, you know what I mean, not molested with mods and all that stuff, they go for even more, you know. So again, this is one of my favorite cars, and that will pretty much wrap up my 5 top Loosies, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Before I end today's video, I wanted to try something new, and I believe I'm going to start doing this for all my videos. So for quite some time, I've been trying to figure out, wait, let me rewind. So let me first say that I'm a Christian, And I'm not a perfect Christian by any means, but I do believe in the Holy Trinity. And for quite some time, I've been trying to figure out how I can be a vessel for Christ and His Word. I'm not an extrovert type of person, so a lot of ideas consist of being social and being out there, going up to people you don't know. So I figured, hey, I have a YouTube channel. Maybe I could dedicate some words in the end of my video towards those that are watching. The thing is, we all jump on YouTube to watch our favorite cars, music, art, shows, diecasts, whatever it is. But the person on the other side of the screen watching may be going through some pretty hard times. And if God can use me to touch that person, that to me means more than views or YouTube fame or whatever you might think famous YouTubers. I'm not a famous YouTuber by any means, but whatever you think a YouTuber gets benefit out of making videos. So without further ado, let me close this video with a verse. Proverbs 17:22, a joyful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries bones. Think about that. When you look at this verse, it really is about the way you look at things in life. Your outlook and attitude on things can really change the outcome of events. Your day will depend on your attitude and the way you feel. So joy and being optimistic can really help our well-being just as much as being pessimistic and having a defeated spirit, how that can crush and drain us. Having faith and being thankful will cultivate a cheerful heart. And by doing this, you spread positivity, joy, and faith to those around you. So just think about that stuff and try it for a change. You know, if you're having a bad day, there's nothing really much you can do to change it other than your attitude about it. So with that being said, I'd just like to kind of close with a quick little prayer. Dear God, cultivate a spirit in us that can be used as an example to others of having a joyful heart and demonstrating the power of faith and prayer. Help us to understand the consequences of a crushed spirit and lead us into the direction that you want us in. Amen. Hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. And as always, happy hunting. See you next time.